In this video, we will break down 10 clever tricks that coffee shops use to manipulate customers, making them pay more for a questionable beverage. They sell you diluted coffee, substitute ingredients, and use marketing tactics to hide the actual quality of the product. We will explain how to avoid falling for these schemes and how to choose truly good coffee. The points are arranged in order of increasing risk, and the most outrageous deception awaits you at the end. Watch the video until the end so you do not fall for these tricks again. This video is going to be incredibly informative and helpful. If you want to take control of your health like a pro, give it a like, and let's get started. Mar 1. Marketing deception with portion sizes. Many coffee shops use a confusing naming system for sizes, disguising the true volume of the drink. Instead of simple small, medium, and large, we see tall, grande, and venti. According to a study conducted by Cornell University in 2023, about 75% of coffee shop customers cannot accurately determine how many milliliters are in each size, which leads to purchasing a larger volume than necessary. On average, an American overpays approximately $250 per year due to a misunderstanding of portion sizes. This is not only a financial burden, but also adds extra calories. A typical venti latte contains about 500 calories, which is 1/4 of the daily recommended intake for an average adult. Tip: before ordering, ask the barista for the exact volume in milliliters for each size. Many coffee shops provide this information on their websites or in mobile applications. Determine how much coffee you actually need and stick to that volume regardless of appealing names. 2. The illusion of freshly roasted coffee. The rich aroma of freshly roasted coffee beans is often nothing more than a well-crafted illusion. A study by the American Association of Coffee Specialists found that in 83% of chain coffee shops, the beans used were roasted at least 3 months ago. However, packaging and marketing materials frequently emphasize the idea of fresh roasting. Some establishments even use flavored sprays or hidden ventilation systems that disperse the scent of freshly roasted coffee. The Monell Chemical Senses Center discovered that these aromatic manipulations increase sales by 22%, even though the actual quality of the product remains the same. Tip: pay attention to the roast date of coffee beans. Truly fresh coffee typically has a roast date no older than 2 to 3 weeks. If this information is missing from the packaging or the menu, it may be a sign that the coffee shop is hiding something. Support local coffee shops that roast their beans on site or clearly indicate the exact roast date. 3. Misleading information about coffee origin. Colombian high altitude, Ethiopian Yirgacheffe, Hawaiian Kona. These names sound exotic and imply exceptional quality. However, the National Coffee Association of the United States found that approximately 70% of coffee labeled as Kona does not contain a single gram of authentic Hawaiian beans. Even more concerning is that many coffee shops sell blends containing inexpensive Robusta beans disguised as premium Arabica. The differences are not just in price and taste. Robusta contains nearly twice as much caffeine and has a higher level of chlorogenic acids, which can lead to increased stomach acidity and digestive issues in sensitive individuals. Tip: look for coffee shops that are transparent about their suppliers and can provide certification of coffee origin. Many small specialty coffee shops maintain direct relationships with farmers and can accurately state where their beans come from. Do not hesitate to ask about the origin of the coffee. Trustworthy baristas will be happy to share this information. 4. Hidden calories in healthy alternatives. Plant-based milk, zero-calorie sweeteners, and light versions of drinks often disguise their actual nutritional value. A study by the University of California in Los Angeles found that the average vegan latte made with almond milk and agave syrup contains approximately 340 calories, only 15% less than a classic latte, while often costing 30% more. Natural sweeteners can be particularly misleading. Agave syrup, for example, has a higher glycemic index than regular sugar and contains more fructose, which in excess may contribute to the development of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, according to research by the American Institute of Nutrition. Tip: ask for the full nutritional information of your drinks. Many coffee shops have this data, but do not readily share it. Consider choosing black coffee or an espresso with a small amount of real milk. These options are often healthier than many vegan or diet alternatives. If you use a sweetener, opt for the smallest amount possible or bring your own to control the portion. Number 5. Homemade baked goods produced in factories. Many coffee shops proudly advertise their homemade or handcrafted baked goods, creating the impression that they are made on site. However, a study by the American Culinary Association found that approximately 89% of baked goods in national coffee chains are delivered frozen from centralized production facilities. This so-called homemade pastry often contains preservatives, stabilizers, and artificial flavorings. For example, a typical homemade blueberry muffin may have up to 25 different ingredients, many of which you would never use in your own kitchen. Researchers from Tufts University discovered that such products contain an average of 60% more trans fats and 45% more sugar than genuinely homemade baked goods. Tip: look for coffee shops where you can see the baking process or where they are transparent about their suppliers. Real homemade baked goods usually have a less uniform appearance, variations in shape and size, and a shorter shelf life. Do not hesitate to ask if the pastries are made on site and what ingredients are used. Deception with organic and eco-friendly coffee labels such as organic, fair trade, and eco-friendly appear on many coffee products, but they are often just marketing tactics. A study by the North American Environmental Institute found that only 42% of coffee shops claiming their products are organic can actually provide the necessary certifications. Even more concerning data comes from the American Institute for Sustainable Development, which discovered pesticide residues in 37% of coffee samples labeled as organic. Some of these chemicals, such as chlorpyrifos and neonicotinoids, have been linked to neurodegenerative diseases and endocrine system disorders with prolonged exposure. Tip: look for coffee shops that can provide up-to-date certifications from recognized organic certifying organizations such as USDA Organic or Rainforest Alliance. Pay attention to small local coffee shops, which often have direct relationships with farmers and can verify organic farming practices. You can also use specialized apps like Coffee Ethics, which track the authenticity of coffee shop sustainability certifications. Number 7. Microbiological contamination of equipment. Behind the glossy chrome coffee machines often lies an unpleasant truth. A study conducted by the American Society for Microbiology in 2023 found that 64% of commercial coffee machines in coffee shops contain dangerously high levels of bacterial contamination, including Escherichia coli and Staphylococcus aureus. Milk tubes and steam wands are particularly concerning. Researchers from the University of Michigan discovered that, on average, these components contain more than 200,000 colony-forming units of bacteria per square centimeter, 50 times the acceptable limit for food equipment. Regular consumption of beverages from contaminated equipment has been linked to chronic gastrointestinal issues, frequent foodborne illnesses, and even the development of antibiotic-resistant infections. Tip: pay attention to how frequently and thoroughly the staff cleanse the equipment. Skilled baristas rinse the steam wands after every use and perform a deep cleaning of the coffee machine at least once a day. If you notice residue on the equipment, an unpleasant smell from the drinks, or see that the coffee machine is not properly maintained, it is better to choose another coffee shop. You may also consider opting for beverages that do not contain milk, such as an Americano or drip coffee. Number 8. Manipulation with temperature and dilution of drinks. A study by the Institute of Food Technology found that 71% of major coffee chains consistently serve beverages at a temperature 10 to 15 degrees Celsius lower, 18 to 27 degrees Fahrenheit lower than optimal. This is done not only to avoid lawsuits over burns, but also to mask the low quality of the coffee. Additionally, 65% of iced coffee drinks are served with an excessive amount of ice, effectively reducing the actual volume of the drink by 30 to 40%. A particularly common practice is milk filling, where baristas add more milk than the recipe calls for to save on coffee, which is more expensive. The University of Pennsylvania discovered that a typical latte in chain coffee shops contains 35% less espresso than the standard recipe requires. Tip: For hot drinks, they be served at a higher temperature, around 90 degrees Celsius or 194 degrees Fahrenheit for drip coffee. For cold drinks, ask for less ice or order them without ice. If your drink tastes too watery or overly milky, do not hesitate to ask the barista to remake it with the correct ingredient ratio. Many specialty coffee shops even specify the exact amount of espresso in milliliters for each drink. Number 9. Toxic levels of acrylamide. One of the most serious issues that is rarely discussed is the presence of acrylamide in coffee. Acrylamide forms when coffee beans are roasted at high temperatures and is classified as a probable human carcinogen. A study by the American Cancer Society found that some dark roast varieties, especially those made from low-quality beans, can contain up to 120 micrograms of acrylamide per liter. Long-term consumption of high levels of acrylamide has been linked to an increased risk of developing pancreatic, kidney, and ovarian cancer. Particularly concerning is that Johns Hopkins University discovered that acrylamide levels in coffee from chain coffee shops are, on average, 60% higher than in coffee from specialty coffee shops, where the roasting process is more carefully controlled. Tip: choose medium roast coffee instead of very dark roast. Research indicates that acrylamide levels may be lower in coffee brewed using filtration methods, such as pour-over or French press, compared to espresso. Look for coffee shops that use high-quality beans and carefully monitor their roasting process. Some coffee producers even conduct regular acrylamide testing and publish their findings. This level of transparency is a good sign. And now, pay close attention. This is the most dangerous point in our video. 10. Unknown additives and flavor enhancers. The most hazardous trick used by coffee shops involves undisclosed additives in drinks. A study by the American Institute of Food Safety found that 92% of flavored coffee beverages contain synthetic chemical compounds that are not listed in the ingredient information. Particularly concerning are flavor enhancers and texture stabilizers, which may include diacetyl, linked to popcorn lung disease, propylene glycol alginate, a potential allergen, and various phthalates, which are endocrine disruptors. A long-term study conducted by the U.S. Neuroendocrinology Institute linked regular consumption of these additives to an increased risk of autoimmune diseases, metabolic disorders, and neurodegenerative conditions. Even more alarming, researchers at the University of California, San Francisco detected traces of banned stimulants such as 1,3-dimethylamylamine, DMAA, and various amphetamine analogs in some energy-boosting coffee drinks. These substances can cause dangerous spikes in blood pressure, rapid heart rate, and even lead to a heart attack. Tip: choose simple, unprocessed coffee drinks without artificial flavors or special additives. Black coffee, regular espresso, or a latte with natural milk are significantly safer than complex, flavored special offers. If you want to enhance the taste, use natural spices like cinnamon or cardamom, which you can add yourself. Avoid energy-boosting coffee drinks and any beverages that promise effects beyond the usual caffeine stimulation. Support coffee shops that openly publish a full list of ingredients in their drinks and are willing to answer questions about their composition. Next, I recommend checking out these videos, and don't forget to leave your likes and comments. I'm looking forward to them.